Hello, everybody. My name is Billy Prempeh, and I'm your candidate for the 9th Congressional District for the state of New Jersey, and I'm currently running for Congress. And today I wanted to explain to you what I feel is one of the most important things that needs to change in our congressional system: term limits. A lot of people put a lot of their focus on who's president and how long that president is in office, but a lot of people are not aware of how Congress actually works and how these people are elected or what they even do. I'm not going to take too much time, so I'm just going to briefly explain to you what Congress people do. So Congress people are local citizens like you and I that have been elected by the people to represent a specific district in their state. In this case, I would be representing the 9th District. There's about 37 cities in Bergen County, about 7 cities in the Passaic County, and 2 cities in Hudson County. I would be the one that the citizens would come to when they have specific concerns and they would like to change something in their state or even possibly on a federal level. I would draft up bills and things that I would like to see changed that the people have brought forward to me, and I would present that to the Congress. The Congress debates as to whether or not something like this makes sense to be pushed forward. If Congress agrees, it gets pushed over to the Senate. They determine the legality of what we're going to be presenting, and if the Senate agrees, they push it over to the President of the United States. And if the President believes that what we're proposing makes sense, the President has the option to make it into a law, or he has the option to veto it, which means to get rid of that bill, send it right back to Congress, and we got to figure out what we can do to make it actually better. Now, the reason why that's important is because all the president can do is execute. It's up to the people in Congress that are going to push forward the ideas to the president to actually make change. So you have to be very mindful of the people that you're getting put into Congress. And right now we have a problem where we have a lot of politicians that have been in positions of power for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. Most of the time, you look at some of these congressmen's records and they're not really pushing forward any new legislation. A lot of them are just sticking around and they're becoming career politicians. They'll sit there for years and have nothing done at our tax dollars' expense. Now, the problem that I have with that is if we're going to continuously elect these people and we're not going to set a specific limit as to when these people are supposed to leave Congress, these people can stay in power indefinitely. So in the Congress, when these people are elected, they're elected to 2-year terms. It's different for the president. The president is elected for 4 specific years. That counts as 1 term. And if the people agree with what the president has done thus far, the president is then reelected for a 2nd term of 4 years. After that, the president can no longer run. And I think that's perfectly fair. But why don't we see the same thing about Congress? There is no limit to how long a congressman can stay in power. This can go on infinitely. 2-year term after 2-year term after 2-year term after 2-year term. And typically when this is done, the congressmen that are being elected, they typically fall in between the 2-year mark of the 1st term and between the 2-year mark of the president's 2nd term, leaving a gap of 2 years for a new person to come in or for the same politician to be elected all over again. Now, the problem that I have with that is if a congressman becomes a career politician, they can sit down and collect tax dollars. The problem with that is it incentivizes the politician to try and stay in power for as long as possible, complain about a lot of the problems that we have, and not actually get anything done. Because if they can manipulate you, if they can get inside your mind, they can get you to vote for them forever. And I'm pretty sure you know a congressman or two that's done that. So the second thing that this will do, setting term limits, is it will incentivize the people to elect congressmen that will put the needs of the people over money. Because when your time is limited, and you're here for only 2 years and you don't do a good job, someone else can come with better ideas that can replace you and knock you out of your chair. And this happens every 2 years. But because a lot of us aren't aware of who these Congress people are, they're allowed to continue doing that. Putting term limits on Congress it prevents partisan control of the House. Because these congressmen can continue to get elected over and over and over and over and over again, and people aren't aware of who most of these politicians are, they just go to the voting booth and vote for the person next to the president's name or next to said candidate that's going against the president's cabinet. They just kind of vote for these people without even thinking. Because there's going to be more people that have an opportunity or choose to actually run for Congress, there's going to be a lot more of a variety of ideas, okay? There's going to be people that have more democratic and liberal ideas, more conservative Republican ideas, more libertarian ideas, and God forbid, even socialist ideas. But the beauty in that is the United States was designed so that the people take their part in the government. We elect these people because they're supposed to get the job done for us. You all see what happened during the impeachment charade. A lot of the Democrats took full control, and most of them had no evidence whatsoever to try and impeach the president. You see how the entire thing failed. You see how the Russia collusion hoax failed. A lot of them didn't really have any evidence whatsoever, yet they still proceeded, even though most of the country, when you look at the polls, didn't agree with what was happening. But when you have politicians that can sit in power for so long and they play along party lines, it allows them to collude, it allows them to work together, and it allows them to make different plans and agendas that most of us citizens aren't privy to, nor are we even aware of them. So by putting term limits in Congress, it makes it hard for corruption to happen. I'll give you an example. Politician A wants to do something illegal or illicit. Politician B just got into Congress, and this politician wants to go and get things done. Politician A, who's been here, who's running for his second election, he can get replaced by politician B if politician B has better ideas and the people support their ideas better, especially if politician A didn't do a good job in their first term. I'm not saying that congressmen should not be able to complete consecutive runs for Congress. I think that's great. I think they should be able to do that. But I think just like the president, they should be limited at 8 years, which means congressmen should only be allowed to serve 4 terms, period. Whether they be consecutive terms or they be 4 terms over the course of their political career. Other than that, once you're done with your 8 years, you need to go home, retire, have a pina colada, and enjoy the country. We elected these people to do things for us. We elected them to protect our country, protect our values, and present the needs that we want presented for the rest of the country. And if we don't put limits on there, they're allowed to collude, they're allowed to live off our tax dollar, and they're allowed to continue the corruption. So that was a brief breakdown on term limits. I really hope that gave you a little bit of a better understanding of what I'm trying to do. And I hope that you take the time out of your day to research this and learn a little bit more. Thank you, and take care.